going on the Swedes, but go ahead.
But they were all downgraded, but they got it back.
Japan was downgraded.
But the issue is, what's interesting with the ratings agencies is that their language is getting tougher and their warnings are becoming more frequent.
Because they're guilty. They miss so much now that, oh, we're so tough.
On the wrong thing.
But let's talk about if it does happen. Our interest costs go up, which already equals the size of the Belgium's economy. And Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac's bonds.
What's the size of Belgium's economy?
The interest that we pay annually on our debt equates to the size of the Belgian GDP.
That's a lot of chocolate. That's a lot of chocolate. All right, so Gary B. Smith, I don't think a U.S. credit rating agency will ever lower the debt.
They will.
Well, no, I don't think they will. But that's fine. We could disagree. But they have all sorts of reasons not to do that because hell would collapse over them if they did. But there is something to be said that we take our AAA rating for granted, don't we?
Oh, absolutely, and we're going in with blinders. Look, already, Neil, we have a $1.6 trillion deficit. We have about a $14 trillion debt. You know, just right before I came in here, there was a fellow in the green room from the Tax Foundation came out with a study today, said we would need to raise taxes just to pay off this year's deficit by 242%.
Yeah, he was our leadoff guest, Gary. Now, I know you just came in late. You're doing all sorts of things, but it would be nice if you knew who our leadoff guest was. But that's okay. It's okay. No, but you're right.
I didn't get that in my earpiece.
But
sorry.
in other words, that would be held to pay. Now, Jonathan, is that what we have to do to protect the rating we have?
Well, Neil, I mean, S&P is almost late to the party. To that, I think Mike is right. I mean, the dollar has been down now for the better part of the last decade.
Whoa. Mike is right?
Well, Mike is right.
Let me be clear. Let me be clear, if I could. Jonathan Honig, Mike Norman, right. Continue.
Well, he's right in the sense that we can simply print more dollars. But, Neil, you know, I know Mike is an esteemed economic scholar. Let me give a little visual representation of basically what's happening
here. With the sarcasm there,
this is what's happening. We are debasing the value of our currency, and the bills will be paid, whether it's higher inflation, a weaker dollar, all this government spending.
But you know what?
The
bills will be paid. He just said it. It's absolutely
you can never
correct.
see that happening?
Look, of course it's going. I'll make a bet with you because you said it's not going to happen, right? I'm saying they're so stupid. They will do this. They will, Neil, just like they did it to Japan. And guess what? It had absolutely zero impact. And by the way, Neil,
Mike,
Japan's
wait a second.
Is 250% of
wait
their
a
GDP.
Second. What he is saying is, what Mike is saying, and I have to disagree, is that Japan's borrowing costs are so cheap. It's funded by their own country's savings. We get our funding from overseas markets, and our bond yields could go up. I'm saying that's the argument on Wall Street.
And Mike, Japan is the best example. They've had something like 12 stimulus programs in the last 15 years. Their economy has gone nowhere. All it's done is build just the debt you're talking about.
Guys, we have a single A rating right now.
What does it matter?
You're amazed by what?
Maybe not, but I'm just saying we certainly don't deserve a triple A.
Yes,
well, a lot of our states don't deserve the ratings. California should be in junk.
$300 billion is our debt service cost against a $14 trillion.
You're not worried about debt deficit.
2%.
Our total debt is going to be over 100% of our GDP.
But Mike, that interest cost could pay for 12 or 18 government agencies.
Well, and that's a whole
10
different...
10 Belgians. We're going to take a quick break here. Look at this.
Oh, I just got a big tax refund. Uncle Sam sent me $500.
I got $600.
I got $850.
I got a rock.
Many Americans may not even be getting a rock. They could be getting a whole lot of nothing. Well, at least for now. Keep waiting.
Brewing the America.
Well, as Mike pointed out, you know, some states are facing some massive budget deficits. Now some of them are telling their residents to expect a delay getting back their tax refunds. Some may even have to wait up to 5 months, but just try paying your state taxes late and blame your poor personal budget. I dare you, because they will shoot you and they will hang you and they will drag your body parts all over the state. But close. The government probably wouldn't take that so well, so why should we? Gary B., it's happening everywhere. What's going on?
Absolutely, and let me quote a study from the Tax Foundation. No, I'm just kidding, Neil.
Gary B., I'm just joking. You're a busy man. You don't have time to watch my show.
I had to get that in there. No, you know, Neil, this is This is so typical, but, you know, and people, honestly, they should expect this. It's like having a very expensive, you know, item that you want to make sure it gets to someone else. You don't use the Postal Service. You do FedEx or UPS. It's the same way. Look, people have to expect that these state governments, as they get more and more squeezed, just like the county governments, by the way, are going to do more of these shenanigans. What I don't understand is why people up front aren't taking the maximum amount of deductions possible. Be in the position where you owe the government money rather than they owe you a refund. That way, at least you level the playing field.
Well, so far it's not like what. Remember, was it California last year, Mike, that had the IOUs? We'll gladly pay you tomorrow for a hamburger today kind of deal.
But that worked. That's
I know it worked, but it's kind of sad.
And that's Wimpy you're quoting.
Wimpy. I love Wimpy.
And it's too bad they couldn't do that. You know, it was the federal government that came down on them that forced them to kind of.
But you're okay with just handing people pieces of paper rather than money?
Look, I'm for, I mean, if you're a currency issuer, I mean, states can't. They can't.
They don't have the money, then they rob Peter to pay Paul and rob a credit line.
Look, this is a big problem. The states are really squeezed, and only the federal government could step in as the fiscal authority to give money to states to have. Otherwise, this is the next shoe to drop, Neil.
It's about 194 billion shortfall nationwide. But the thing is, Neil, this is just a budgetary shell game because they're just pushing off what they owe into the future.
New York did it last year.
That's right. And Neil, what I'm worried about is we've got a half a dozen states doing this now. It's sort of like the accounting fakery they went down on Wall Street and earlier in this decade during the dot-com crash, which I covered. All the financial engineering. If one state does it, a lot of states will try to mimic it. That's the danger that other states will pick up.
But Mike raised a good point, Johnny, right? That you know, a lot of these states have no choice. They can't run deficits, and so they delay until they have the money to pay, right?
Right. Well, Neil, it's a great indication of just how terribly so many of these states have been managed. I mean, California has a higher default risk on their credit default swaps than Lebanon or Kazakhstan. I mean, their fiscal management has been terrible. Indeed, and where does all the money go? It doesn't go to police.
It goes to pensions. Look, they do have a choice. And Neil, they have a choice. They have a choice. 15,000 workers in California get a pension over $100,000 a year.
Exactly.
There's a choice there. Their averages, according to Governor Christie, the pay for state workers is about 41% higher than the average comparable private worker. No, in New Jersey. He said no. He said nationwide, and he said they're 41% higher than the average Fortune 500 company worker.
All right, but bottom line, Mike,
bottom line is the economy is bad.
He may have said New Jersey.
The economy is bad.
I apologize.
If it turns around, they'll be in a better fiscal position, but it's bad, and only the federal government has the ability to step in and you know, help the situation.
Print more money that we don't have.
Well, the states could cut.
All right, well, that's a concept.
Cut that
Guys, I wish we had more
marble
time, but we don't.